Yeah, we're live. Alright, so you could ask questions you want to ask.
Yeah, can you, so based on all your experiences, and even from meeting Blake and everything that you've gone through to build a place, what would you boil down, I guess, like, what are your core values, what are your principles that you follow? And has that changed over time? Loaded question.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's like that book I just handed to you. That's really our value systems, and a lot of that exercise. I had the core values sort of down in my heart and in my sort of being as I got the company going, but there was so much maturity that needed to happen. My daughter was like, maybe 6 months old or something like that when I got the company going, and I was in my mid-20s, early, my mid, like around 26, 27, so I was still so juvenile in so many ways looking back on it, just sort of reckless, but the intentions were all there. Like, even from when we started, we were trying to help junior golfers and get them in here for free. We were trying to help the VA and go over to the VA and be like, how can we teach wounded veterans? And so there was very much always sort of a Robin Hood-esque feel about this place, but there was also sort of a reckless, sort of young and just aggressive and get things going and, kick ass and take names later kind of approach. And so the values really rose up through the team that was cultivated, because it's not just like my values. Like I kind of helped build the essence, but the values were built more or less by the team. The people that were hired, the people that I started to hire, or the ones that would fall off, or the ones that would stay, and why they would stay. I started to see that as I hired people, they were people that were that I wanted to be like, people that were better than me in certain ways. Like Mark Zuckerberg says, to hire people that are better than you. And I used to think like, not anyone's better than me. It's like kind of arrogant as shit. I'm like, how am I going to find someone better? No one can sell this like I can. No one can do this. No one can do that. How am I going to find people better than me? But I kind of misread the statement, and also was not very humble. And so I realized that it's people that are better than you in not just technical ways, but ethical and standards that I wanted to aspire to. So as I had more people come into the business, I wanted to put teams around me that held me accountable for what I wanted to be. And that's kind of what we continue to do. And that's why Blake's investment is such a great thing, to have someone like that as a mentor and as a teammate, which is really how he mentors, that I want to aspire to be like, to help people like he has, and to be the kind of man that he is, kind of brother that he is, the kind of son that he is, the kind of father that he is. And I wanted to, and that's really sort of what defined the values. And so, but the values are, they're community, they're inspiration, holistic development. We have about 12 values that we run through. But we did that exercise pretty soon after he invested, and really ran through about 100 of them that we all believed were here out of the team of 20 that we had, 25 that we had built, put them on the wall, and we voted on them. And some of the ones that were voted on I didn't vote for. So, and that helped empower the staff to feel like they had built the team, they had built the values of this company, which is the truth. And what I always say to new people getting hired as I take them through the training process, as I run through the values, the mission, the vision, our future growth plans, I say these values are aspirational. Humility is one of them. I struggle with that. So, and to admit that, and to be self-aware is really what matters, because none of us are perfect. None of us are all about community. We tend to be self-interested. So really understanding how these values are aspirational, and they're amazing because they keep you accountable to where you want to go and what the team has agreed to go towards.
Can you describe what it feels like once you enter the place, once you enter UGP?
Yeah, it's funny because on Blake's letter to the community on his investment, that's what he talks about, is when people meet you in the parking lot, and same as a lot of people that I meet in the community, they're like, oh, you're Mac, you're the founder of Urban Golf Performance, like, that place is amazing, and and what they talk about is not the lessons, not the workouts. They talk about the vibe and how people greet you. They're like, people are just so nice there. You come in the parking lot and they're genuinely happy to see you, and so that is something I'm very proud about, and that stems from the golf industry. When you go to a typical pro shop or a country club or a public golf course, you feel like you're bothering them. That you walk in most golf places, it's crazy because it's like, you think of a high-end restaurant, but even think of high-end restaurants, they're like, yeah, can I help you? Do you have a reservation? You walk into a into a golf shop, they're like, do you have a tea time? And it's like, that's not the way you greet someone that's coming to be a patron of your facility. The best like family-style restaurants that are mom and pops, the best hotels in the world that are world-class, like Ritz-Carltons, you come in and they're like, doesn't matter what you look like or anything, they say, how can I help you, sir? Or, welcome. So it's just basic. It's basic, but it's not commonly practiced. So for us in the golf industry, we had a really great advantage. The fact that most country clubs are pretty elite and they aren't welcoming out of their own nature and DNA and their legacies. And then most municipal courses are run like the post office. They're run with city employees. So you have city employees, and you got elite country clubs that don't let people in, and that's by their nature. Wonder why the golf industry's suffering. So for me, I said, I'm going to be above everyone just by saying hello when they come on the property. Really simple, but I just, it's kind of crazy. And when I tell this to people that are in the golf industry, they're like, what's been the key to your success? They're like, how come we haven't thought of that? I'm like, be warm and welcoming. Like, you wonder why you have attrition. So people pull in the lot and they get that warm welcome. We're happy to see them because we wouldn't be here without them. It's ridiculous to even think that, that we're something special without them. Like, they're the thing that make us tinker and experiment. They're the people who, and that's why even like with kids and everything, people get annoyed at kids on airplanes and everything. Like, it's like, they're the future, Be nice to them because they're what's going to be the rest of, they're going to be, after we're gone, they're going to be the ones who run the world. So if you're mean to them, that you're creating a mean world. So I just very much believe that, like, how you treat people on the front end, it just cultivates and it breeds, and it's hard to maintain that service quality. I really reinforce, like, if someone walks by, make eye contact, shake their hand. And I think a lot of that comes from being a Texan. And, you're like, shake his hand, son. Look him in the eye. And then being Mexican, where you say in Mexico there's a famous sort of a common practice statement that says a tu servicio, which means at your service. And so, like, you go into a hotel in America and you're like, where's the restroom? Someone in California would be like, oh, it's down the hall on the left. And you're like, all right, thank you. They go, no worries, man. While in Mexico, they say a tu servicio. Say, oh, where's the bathroom? They go, oh, it's down the hall on the left. Oh, thank you, a tu servicio. Instead of no worries, man. It means at your service. And so that service quality, that service mentality, that humility that comes from the service industry, which is the top 2-3 industries in Mexico, is, I really kind of saw that. Look people in the eye, shake their hand, and be at their service. It's very, very simple, but once again, not commonly practiced. So people come in here, they feel that vibe, they get that Tex-Mex sort of experience, and then they walk in and, like, I've really curated the music here where I've crafted it to my demographic. They come in and there's songs that remind them of really good times. Whether that's classic rock, whether that's like some new stuff with a little bit of a twist on it, but where my dad's 60 years old, this is a baby boomer, I guess, so, has a Tesla, wants to feel like he's modern. At the same time, he doesn't believe in where the world's going and that whole mentality. And then I got a little brother who's 15. I want them both to come in and be like, this is good music. So really, kind of, people come in and I have that vibe. Everybody likes certain songs, but there's some songs that everybody can agree on. That's like makes you feel like you're upbeat and you're moving forward. So I want to have that. So they come in, there's music. The smell is important. People are all dressed, like a team, and they're, we're all groomed appropriate. Like, just the little things Everybody's just on point, and the music's at the right level, and just everything's in its right place. And then in terms of a first experience, you come in and you see sort of where golf is heading, and you see where what golf performance really is. And I think that people don't know that. They think of golf performance as like a golf instructor on the end of the range, screaming at you, or or being confused. And then they think of golf fitness and they don't even know what that is. They think of buying golf equipment and they think of a retail experience with a bunch of golf clubs everywhere, or really expensive stuff, or whatever it is. They think of golf recovery or golf wellness services. They don't know what that is. Even, like I said, I got people from all over the world come here and they're blown away. And these guys with all the means in the world to go anywhere. And they have the country clubs, they got the gyms, they got the Equinoxes and everything. And they come into a place like this and they're like, oh my God. And so the first experience is a little bit overwhelming, which out of its design, but at the same time it's warm and welcoming. And I think that makes it exhilarating.
Awesome. And then I guess my last question, if you guys have any, is what do you see the growth, or where's GGP headed? Yeah,
I mean, I guess as we got going, that's where Blake's helped me a lot, by the way. I mean, as we got going, and as you gain traction, and as your I mean, we've had so many celebrities come through here. We've had so many high-profile people, which we don't really market because we respect their privacy, and that's been a big part of it. It's like kind of hard to have this brand and not want to tell people who's been here. But for the most part, we're pretty private about our customers that come through. James Worthy's been really huge for us in terms of being an advocate and a spokesman for us. The UCLA men's golf team, the head coach of UCLA, because we've helped them. And so we've had a few, but for the most part, we've been relatively quiet. Blake's support's helped a lot. But the growth plans, like I said, as you get going and you have all these people coming through, all these opportunities have arisen. Like, oh man, you should do this and do that, and like, oh man, like you could open up at this resort in Europe, and you'd be the first indoor golf performance place in a castle, or all this stuff where you're like, that sounds awesome. Licensing fees, and we'll pay you this, and it's overwhelming because people they become to covet the brand, and they're like, we want it, and it's hard to say, especially coming from nothing, to say, oh, that would really help bolster us because we're nobody. But what Blake's helped us realize is that we're somebody, and our brand's to be protected, and we actually make good money here, and in our little box on Sepulveda. So he said, really, what you need to do is go repeat that, and over again. And the feeling of prestige you have now, or the feeling of that you have some sort of leverage in the industry, it'll only amplify, because you really become a product and a commodity. So he's helped us focus that, and that's why we're opening up in Orange County in the next 30-40 days. We've been in construction and in planning for 6 months now. So, but we'll be opening that up, and then we'll hit up pretty much every major market in the world is our goal. We'd like to have anywhere between 30 and 50 locations. And then how does that branch off into growth? I don't know. But yeah, we're opening one more if it's successful. And we have a bunch of support going down to Orange County because it's so close to LA. If it's successful, then we'll keep taking it on.
Cool. Awesome.
Can you give us what urban golf performance is? And then like a couple lines.
Like a mic drop?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
something they could lead with and then get
sure.
into everything that you said right here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, urban golf performance is the future of golf instruction. It's going to be the way that people learn golf in the future. As dense urban areas continue to lose land, golf's going to become more and more elite, especially in places like New York City or LA, and there's not going to be more golf courses built in LA or in New York City or in Chicago. So golf's going to get more elite, especially and more people are going to move to the cities as they continue to, and we're going to see the lifestyles continue to evolve for urban dwellers. So and because of that, the legacy of the game or learning the game is going to be really hard in these places. So it's not so much. There's going to be lots of places that come up with golf instruction indoors and stuff that are going to be, that are going to mimic us and everything like that. But really, I think what we've been able to do so far and what we're really going to focus on is teaching the culture of the game, the legacy of the game, the history of the game in these cities. And I think that's going to be very important because golf's a huge part of American history, a huge part of global history. So I think that's going to be a big thing for us as we go forward, is to preserve the game and teach the game to people in these urban cities, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That was good.
Cool.
There's some vision there. And then, like, are you gonna be like, when you leave, are you gonna be a better golfer than when you walked in? I mean, it's
Yeah,
obvious.
always. Yeah, that's always the plan. It's always the plan to take your game to new heights here, and to have you have more insight as to the work that you can put in to improve. This isn't a quick fix. This is like joining a college golf team in which we expose you to your flaws and we empower you at the same time. So it's not like, hey man, no, you're going to come in here and I'm better immediately. No, you're going to come there and you're going to say, I'm part of something that's aspirational. I'm part of something that makes me better just by association. And then, yeah, I mean, I've had people get really good here. And I've rarely had people ever come here and not get better. I mean, probably 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000, because it works and there's a science behind it, and there's, like I said, there's history behind it. So if you really come in here and want it, I mean, you have every resource you could possibly ask for to play the best golf of your life and be in the best physical shape of your life at the same time.
In terms of philanthropy, is there any sort of projected growth or like getting more involved?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that 40% of our profits will be diverted to the first tee, considering that 40% of our profits will be diverted to the first tee, it's built into our business model, such as Tom's, right? Where with Tom's, you buy a pair of shoes, you give a pair of shoes to a kid in need. So for us, it's really that. I'm not sure about the exact scale of it because it depends on how big we grow, but pretty much if you think about it, for every user, it's pretty realistic to think that 5 to 10 kids could get introduced to the game of golf every time you come here. Because if you're looking at $135 a session here or something like that, and you're thinking about what the net profit is of that, and then you're thinking of maybe $20-$40 or whatever, that sustainably done across a bunch of locations will be able to grow the game considerably and help these kids that otherwise wouldn't have access to golf, mentorship programs, community, and then hopefully we're strengthening the First Tees coaching program so that it's even better. Because we have the resources as a private organization, as a for-profit, to innovate and to continue to expand the way that we do things.
Cool.
I think a 2-minute video
I think
became
we got it.
a 5-minute video.
Yeah, I know.
That was
Actually, one last thing.